Hey everyone, welcome to this channel. My name is Mehdi and today we are going to talk about how to texture this frying pan inside Substance Painter. And before that, let me introduce you the brand new course that we released for Substance Painter. Learning Substance Painter is easier than ever. Hey all substance lovers, texture seekers, and awesome future artists. Welcome to Ultimate Course for learning Substance Painter from zero to hero. Ready to learn how to texture with different projects? Substance Master released a brand new course for those who want to learn to texture with Substance Painter. In this course, we cover from preparing the model to rendering different projects, different challenges. If you want to level up your skill in texturing, come and check the Substance Master Ultimate course for learning Substance Painter. Okay, let's start the process. I'm going to export this single model and bake it inside Substance Painter, and after that load this arrangement to have the model in different angle to check everything inside Painter before exporting the model and put it inside Marmoset or other software. So let's do that. Okay, let's create a new project and I'm going to select the pan, the single one, and here everything is fine. Press OK, and as you can see we have a single model inside Substance Painter. Go to the baking mode, turn on the Men's Normal, change anti-aliasing to super sampling 64x and change output size to 4K. And now we are good to go and select the bake and wait baking process going down. Okay, now the baking process is done and now it's time to change the model. So let's go to the edit, project configuration, and in here I'm going to select the second version of the model set like this, pan for texturing, and press OK. And yeah, everything is fine. The only thing that you need to follow here is do not change the material name of these models. Okay, so the material name should be same and you can re-import the model with different arrangement and different copy version of model. Okay, so let's start the texturing process. For the first step, I'm going to create 3 folders. Okay, now we have 3 different folders for the pan, for the handle, and for the connection between the pan and the handle. And now we can create the mask for each folder. Just follow these steps. Create a black mask, add a paint, go to the polygon field, select the mesh, and just select whatever you want to be inside this mask. So I'm going to create the mask for all folders. Okay, now it's time to start material creation process, and I select the handle and start my process with the handle section. It's a wood surface, so we can use pre-made or exist texture from outside of the Substance Painter. And now I'm going to the fab and select the texture that I want. And because we want to use the Quixel resources, we should go to the fab, the newest marketplace for Epic Games. And right now I'm going to download this texture wood like this, and the 4K is enough for me. And after that, we are going to import all the resources into Substance Painter. Okay, right now I just need to create a fill layer and call it base wood and import the base color, the normal, and the roughness. Okay, and we have the cavity map inside the zip file, so we need to turn on the ambient occlusion channel inside the Substance Painter. Okay, so let's go to the texture set setting, channels, and select the ambient occlusion. And now we can use the cavity on the ambient occlusion, so that's fine. Let's go and fix the position of the UV and the texture on the model. Okay, so I'm going to change the projection to triplanar. That's fine, and I'm going to rotate it like this and just move it to the forward, and I think this position be good. This, okay, that's fine. Yeah, this one is great. So I'm going to add a filter, the sharpen, and bring down the intensity to 0.2. Okay, that's fine. So we have a sharp texture here. And for better quality inside the viewport, we can increase the size in the texture setting from 1K to 2K. Okay, that's fine. We have the good base for the wood, and now it's time to add the detail on this wood. So for the first step, I'm going to add an anchor point here for the base wood layer, and now let's create other layers for this surface. First, I'm going to create height and roughness. And as you can see in the name, we just need height and roughness. For the height, I'm going to add a positive amount. And for the roughness, let's bring it up to something like 0.9. And now for the mask, I'm going to use the anchor point here. So add the black mask, go to the fill layer under the mask, and let's load the anchor point here. Okay, let's go to the mask, play with the level, this to have better mask. And I'm going to add a blur. Yeah, like this. So this is for the first layer, and now it's time to focus on the next layer. I'm going to call it dark edge, and it's like add a black mask, use a generator like curvature, as you can see, and control the global balance here. That's fine. Just keep the color, make it black, and change the blending mode to soft light. So we can go here, play with the global blur. That's fine, and we can decrease the amount of the opacity in the mask, and that's fine. Okay, let's add the roughness variation, and in here I'm going to add a black mask, add fill, and search about the white type texture. And the grunge vibe smudgy soft is a good option for us. We just need to increase the tiling amount, and yeah, the variation here is super good. So I'm going to add a level to control the mask, bring up this slider, yeah, like this, go back to the layer, keep the roughness, and bring it up to something like 75. Let's check the roughness channel, okay, and this is good. And for avoiding this kind of cut error on the texture, we can go here and change the projection to triplanar, that's fine, and we can increase the balance, contrast here too. Okay, so we have a roughness variation here. Okay, now I'm going to create the next layer, damage surface, and in here I just need to have color, height, and roughness. For the roughness, let's bring it up to 1. For the height, let's choose the negative value. And for the color, let's go for the white. And I'm going to change the blending mode to soft light to have a lighter version of the wood base. Okay, now let's add black mask, add generator, and use the metal edge. Okay, now we have the damage on the edges, but we need to control it. So let's bring down the blur level, bring up the contrast of blur, bring down the grunge amount and a scale. Okay, that's fine. And now it's time to add a fill with a grunge in it. I'm going to use the cloud. Cloud 2 is good, and change the blending mode to subtract. So I'm going to remove the mask that we create in the metal edge wear with the random cloud 2 map to create a better variation of this mask. Okay, so as you can see, let's go to the mask. We can increase the balance, increase the tiling to have more variation, increase the contrast, and like this. We can change the projection to triplanar, and yeah, it's so much better. So we can increase the balance again, increase the contrast, and yeah, let's go back to the metal edge, increase the bell level. Okay, and now we have this mask here. This can increase the grunge amount to have more variation here. And let's add a level after all these layers and bring up this to have a strong effect for the damage we create, like this. Okay, we can decrease the bear level, and yeah, this is the final version that I'm looking for. We can increase the grunge scale to have more smaller variation of the grunge amount. Okay, we can decrease the cloud to balance. Yeah, it's so much better. It's so much better. And we can go here and play with this slider to gray effect that we want and we're looking for. Okay, that's fine. This is the damage surface number 1, and let's go for the next layer, underwood damage. And now it's time to work on the underwood damage. In the material mode of this layer, I'm going to load the anchor point of the base wood, and let's let's add a filter HSL, and I'm going to bring up the lightness to near to 1, bring down the saturation a little, okay, and change the hue to something like this. Yeah, if I bring down the lightness, you can see the difference. Okay, this is the hue change, this is a saturation change, and this is a lightness change. And I'm going to add another filter here, the contrast, okay, and bring up the contrast to something 0.2 and 0.1 for the luminosity, and change the blending mode from normal in the base color to soft light. And we can add a fill here in the layer and just select the height and put the negative value like negative 0.1. Okay, and we can add a black mask, add a paint, and we can paint and see what's happening here. But it's not good because we need to focus on the edges. So I'm going to add another layer and call it damage outline. And let's add a black mask here. I'm going to add anchor point for underwood damage layer on the mask and load that anchor point inside the damage outline. Okay, like this. And let's duplicate it, change it to subtract the blending mode of the second layer. And between these two layers, I'm going to add a filter like blur. Okay, now we have the outline. So for the outline, I'm going to keep the color, height, and that's it. So let's bring up the height like this and change the color to something like black. Okay, that's great. So for better understanding, I'm going to create a paint layer here and call it effect and add the final effects that I want to have inside my material. For example, like height to normal to change and increase the intensity of the normal map, and something like sharpen and adding AO with the filter. Okay, so for this purpose, we need to change the blending mode to pass through and apply it to all channel. Let's add filter, duplicate it 3 times because I need 3 different effects. And for the first one, let's choose the sharpen, okay, like this. And the one is too high, maybe 0.5 is much better. The second one is height to normal, like this one. And I'm going to turn off the use word units and play with the normal intensity. For example, I think the 5 number is good. And for the last one, we need to load Matafix HBAO. Okay, and we can play with the height depth here. That's fine. And now we can decide which height number is good for this material. So we can increase it like this or decrease it like this. Okay, let's increase it to 0.2 for now. And in here, in the fill layer, I'm going to change it like this to negative 0.2. Okay, we are done here actually, and we can go to the mask of the underwood damage and paint the mask that we want. Okay, that's great. And for the painting realistic detail, we can use the stencil. So I'm going to use a product of our store that you can find that product inside the description. And now I'm going to load the mask that I want from the shelf, which are there. Okay, so I'm going to the projection mode and load the stencil into the grayscale like this. Okay, before that, let me remove this paint here. Okay, go to the projection mode and I can decide where I want to have detail like this. Okay, I just change the stencil, change the size with holding S on the keyboard, and now it's time to paint some mask here. Okay, that's fine. We can have this one here too. Okay, we can add another paint layer to control the mask, change the blending mode to subtract, go to the paint mode and remove the area that we don't want, like this one. Okay, I need this sharp line here, so we can remove all this area like this. Okay, I'm okay with the detail on the handle for now. I'm going to change it at the end, but right now you can understand the technique that I use. So this is the way that we create details on the wood handle, and now it's time to go for the next layer, the connection layer. Okay, now it's time to focus on the connection surface. So let's create a fill layer, and I'm going to call it steel base. It's a steel material on surface with scratches and dirt on it. So for the steel base, I'm going to use a dark gray For the color, roughness, it should be on the 0.5 and the metallic should be on 1. Okay, so this is a simple layer. And I'm going to create another layer for the scratches. The scratches layer is similar to the steel base, but it should be less rough than the steel base. So bring down the roughness to something like 0.15, and for the height we can choose a small negative value. For the color we can go for a little bright white, and the metallic should be on 1. So this is the difference between these two layers. And now I'm going to add a black mask, add fill, and just search about the scratches. And we can choose the grunge scratches dirty, that's fine. And we can change the projection to triplanar, play with the balance. Okay, and this look is great for me. And now it's time to focus on the next layer. The next layer is the rust, and I'm going to add a black mask. And for the first layer, let's add the fill and put the grunge lakes here. Okay, that's great. You can play with the contrast and the balance, for example, like this, and increase tiling to something like 3. Okay, that's great, but it's too much for the rust layer. So we can decrease the opacity from 100 to 18. Okay, let's put the 18 here. That's great. We have the effect, but it's not too much. Okay, now for better control, we can add a paint layer here, change the blending mode to linear dodge, and go to the brush section and select one of them. Let's search about the dirt, and I think dirt splash is good for us right now. I'm going to decrease the brush, okay, like this. Press X to invert the color and paint some area here, like this one. Okay, this on this surface. Okay, now we create the mask for the layer, and now it's time to focus on the layer. For the layer, I need the color, the height, the roughness, and the metallic. For the metallic should be on the 0 because we have the rust, which is not a metallic surface. And for the roughness, let's bring it out to 1. And for the height, the rust layer on this steel is like the extend or adding layer. Okay, so we need to increase the height amount like this one. And for the base color, let's bring some new technique here. So I'm going to add a grunge here to the base color input, like rust fine. Change the projection to triplanar. Increase tiling to 3. Okay. Now I'm going to add a filter, call it gradient, and choose the color quantity 2. And for the first color, I'm going to pick a brown color. And for the second color, let's select the dark gray. Okay. And we can play with the color position. Okay, now let's go back to the layer and we can play with the balance. And as you can see, we have two different color on the rust, this, and now we can add a filter like blur, okay, with a small amount. And yeah, we have the rust layer here. So I'm going to decrease the opacity of the color to 85, and that's it. We have the rust on the steel, and now it's time to have the dirt layer as a final layer that we need to have in the connection part. Okay, for the dirt layer, I just need to have color and the roughness. The roughness should be on something like 0.8, and the color, let's bring the color to black and decrease the opacity. Add a black mask, add a fill, and choose BMW spot number 1. Increase the tiling, and yeah, we are done here. So this is for the connection, and now it's time to the working on the pan. For the frying pan metal, I'm going to give you the smart material that you can find it with the link in the description. Please read the description very well to get the smart material for free. Okay, this is the look of the final result, and we are going to break down and see what's happening under the hood. But you can use this smart material for anything like frying pan or noisy surface metal. So let's open the smart material. Wherever you see the red layer, it means you can paint the mask and you can control the mask with the paint. Okay, so let's bring down all the layer. So this is the base iron, this is the surface detail, surface color, surface wave, surface bump, bump number 1, number 2, and this is the cover layer. So this is the upper layer that we have on the iron base, and we can control it with the mask that you can find it here, paint here. Okay, so let's remove the visibility. Okay, and if I turn on the paint here, go to the painting mode, as you can see, I can control the mask like this. Okay, and I'm going to turn on the brushing effect. As you can see, we have the brushing effect here, and in the mask we can go to the paint here and control the mask of the brushing like this. Okay, and for the rust we can control the mask but with the procedural way, and we have different imperfection layer here, roughness, delicate, rust, and the metal edge, and different layer of the dirt. So for example, in here in the dirt number 1, you can go here and paint mask here, okay, and control the mask, this one, and yeah, you have this effect. So this is the smart material that you can get it free, and now it's time to export the texture and test the Marmoset Toolbag 5, which is a brand new and great tool for rendering. Jumping to the Marmoset Toolbag, I just want to explain you what's happening to the wood handle. This is the base damage that we have already, and this is the underwood damage. As you can see, I work on the mask, so I paint a lot on the back and on the front side and control it with another paint layer in a subtraction mode and give it a blur, and that's it. And as you can see, we have a damage outline that match with the underwood damage, and they are linked together. So this is the final version, and now we go to the Marmoset Toolbag and render this frying pan inside the Marmoset. And now we are in the Marmoset, so let's load the model as a first step, and I'm going to add a shadow catcher and turn engine type to ray tracing. Okay, and let's add a camera. Go to the camera number 1 that we create, change the focal length here to something like 85, okay, and turn on the save frame and just set your camera. Okay, go to the focus and turn on the depth of field and put it on ray trace with the middlemost button, or just select on this icon and click it on the point that you want to have more focus on that, and play with this slider to control the depth amount. Okay, and now in the post effect tune mapping, I change it to aces, bring up the clarity to 1, change the strength of the sharpen to 1, okay, and play with the vignette and softness. Okay, now we are ready to change the sky. Go to the library, and in here I'm going to select the alley highway, that's fine, and I'm going to change the backdrop mode to color, to solid color, and change it to white. Okay, let's rearrange the camera, and now it's time to load the texture that we create for the pan. Okay, this is the base color and this is the normal, and because we export the texture as an Unreal Engine format template, we need to click on the flip by, and let's load the ORM texture in here. I'm going to copy that and paste it to metalness and occlusion, okay, and change the channel for the metalness to B and for the roughness to G. And as you can see, this is the result that we have. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back to the camera, and in the tune mapping we can increase the exposure and play with the highlight, midtone, and the shadow. But right now I'm okay with the result, and we just need to change the brightness, for example, to 2. Okay, the result is very good, and we just need to add some supportive highlights for creating more attractive render. Okay, let's create a light and change the type to directional, turn off the sky, bring up the brightness to 7, okay, and change the shape to rectangle and bring up the size like this, and press E or select the rotation. Okay, now let's reset the rotation at the first, and I'm going to make it top like this. Okay, and this is the combination between the sky and the top light. That's fine. I'm going to duplicate it, okay, and turn off all the light that we have and place it like this. Okay, and now we are done. We create the lighting, and we can decrease the brightness here from 2 to 1 because we already have enough light, and that's fine. And we can decrease the brightness of the light too to have some soft shadow in this part. Okay, the 5 is too little for the light. Maybe 6.5 is much better. Okay, that's fine. We can play with the light number 2, this, and yeah, I think this is the good lighting situation. And we can duplicate the camera, go to the camera tool, okay, and change the position like this, okay, and bring up the blur intensity in the depth of field. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, and that's it. We are done here, and this is the end of the tutorial. I hope you like this video and learn something new in this video. If so, please hit the like button and share your mind in the comment section. Subscribe our channel to aware about the future content, and share this video with your friend. And we are done. Be creative, be safe, bye.